you want to become a millionaire in 2024, this is exactly what you should be doing. Today we have Daniel Alonzo, who is going to teach us everything we should be doing to become millionaires in 2024. Thank you for coming, Daniel.
I'm excited, Monica. I'm excited to be here.
So the first question that I have for you is, can we become millionaires in 2024?
Well, I mean, the truth is, becoming a millionaire in 1 year is not always easy. There's a lot that plays with that, okay? I mean, is it a cash millionaire? Is it a millionaire on paper? Is it building a company in 2024 to create the net worth of $1 million? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different definitions. Making $1 million in 1 year, you're gonna have to be on it, right? I mean, whatever it is that you decide you want to do, whatever business that you're in, you're going to have to find something that's going to allow you to build the cash flow to be able to make $1 million. It's not easy. Okay. So is it possible? Absolutely. 100% it's possible. Anything's possible. It's just that hopefully we could really describe today maybe how to do it, but also describe today the amount of work that it takes, because it sounds
amazing.
It sounds amazing. Like everybody wants to be a millionaire, everybody wants $1 million, everybody wants to be rich. But let's be honest, right? I mean, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of diligence. And by the way, the real question is, can we make $1 million? When can we make it $1 million? But can we do it doing something that we love? Can it be a part of our journey in life to do the things that make us alive, right? Because I could go try to make $1 million and not be happy either, right? Because I want to be happy and make money. I want to do both.
So do you think money brings happiness?
I think
or
money.
Happiness brings money.
I think money brings a lot of happiness. I do think. I do believe also the opposite. I do believe happiness brings money as well, because you're attracting things into your life, right? You're attracting money, you're attracting people, you're attracting opportunities when you're happy. When you're a happy person, when you're somebody that loves to be around people and likes to make friends and build relationships. I mean, one of my intentions has always been, I want to build great relationships with great people. Mm-hmm. So, but there's no question, and to really answer your question, a lot of people think that money doesn't buy happiness. And the truth is, man, when I drive my car, my Tesla, and it's a pretty expensive, car, I'm happy when I'm driving that car. I love driving that car. It makes me very, very happy. And without money, I couldn't have bought the car. So, if that makes sense.
Yes. And why I invited specifically you is because Daniel has walked his path and he became a millionaire when he was 26. I would like to know more about your story, and for what I read about you too is you really did it increase how much you were earning in a year from hundreds to $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's really possible, and you have walked that path. So that's what I'd be very excited to know more about how it happened.
So 21, I got my buddy, his name was Pablo, and Pablo said, hey man, you got to check out this business. And it was a financial services company, and I had no intentions in the world to want anything to do with this. I thought it wasn't real. I thought it was a scam. I thought, these guys were just trying to motivate us to make money off of us, whatever. I just, for some reason inside of me, I said, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So why not? Why not just go check out an opportunity? Why not talk to these people and see what they have to say? So I go down, I listen to this guy, and again, it sounded like total bullshit, okay? I mean, the guy was saying, I'm making $7 an hour, and the guy, I'm sitting in the front row, and the guy on the stage, he's like, oh, you're gonna make $1 million, and you're gonna change your life, and you're gonna travel the world, and you're gonna get freedom, and you're gonna build all these great relationships and have a great life. And again, it sounded total bullshit, talking to a 21-year-old. But again, there was something inside of me that said, I got nothing to lose. I tried. I said, I'm going to try. I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens. I gave it a shot. I went for it. And in a couple of years, I was already making $100,000 a year. By the time I was 28 years old, I had saved $1 million in cash.
Wow.
And I was also, because I built a business, so really people say, well, how did you do it? The how was I recruited and I trained other people to do what I was doing. So I was like, from 21 to 28 years old, I spent every waking moment thinking about, how do I recruit somebody? How do I train somebody? How do I develop somebody? How do I build a relationship with them so that they could experience what I was experiencing, so they could make a lot of money? So I figured if I helped enough people get what they wanted, which was make more money, I would get everything that I wanted. And that's really, in a nutshell, how it happened.
So who was Daniel before that?
I was a bad boy.
So you were a bad boy.
I was a bad boy. I mean, I was that little kid that I rebelled against my teachers. I was always in the principal's office. I was always getting in fights. And I was telling somebody the other day, I think I got in a lot of fights because I was, I had a few girlfriends, so it was always that, really, and it was that these guys, if I would hug the wrong girl or the wrong girl would like me or something like that, then they would get pissed at me. And then these guys would start fights with me. So I had some issues in when I was younger, but I also was opinionated. I had a lot of opinions. So when I was in class, the teacher would say something that I didn't believe in, and I say, well, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right, or why do we need to learn this? This doesn't make sense. Why we got to spend all this time doing whatever? Those are the reasons why I got in trouble a lot. And I was also hanging out with, high school, fast forward kind of a little bit later into high school, and I was hanging around with bad people. I mean, it's so important, right? We always tell people you got to hang around with great people. Well, I wasn't hanging around great people. I was hanging around the people partying all night long, drinking too much. I was drinking at a young age. I mean, I was, smoking at a young age. I was doing all kinds of things that we all say don't, do at a young age. I was doing them. But now, just a little side note to that, I think that when I hit 21 and I went into business and I said, I'm going to go change my life, I really think I had an advantage on a lot of people because I had kind of gotten a lot of stuff out of my system as a young kid. Again, I'm not condoning a 12-year-old kid drinking, at his buddy's house. But I am saying that I got a lot of stuff out of my system. And when I went into business, man, I was like 21. I was focused. I was on it. I was ready to change the world. And I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't party. I wasn't doing anything that I wasn't supposed to do. That's how focused I was on building my business and trying to become successful because, I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to do something great with my life.
That's my question. Like, what drove you? Because we all have a why, right?
Yeah, I think what drove me is I felt something inside of me that I didn't want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to be average and ordinary like everybody else. I wanted to separate myself from the masses. That's why people called me crazy. That's why I had a lot of haters. People, oh, are you a millionaire yet? Are you rich yet? Or you making all that money yet? It's a scam and it's a pyramid and it's all this stuff. And something inside of me, I didn't give a shit what they said. I was like, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. But my why was I wanted to change the next generation. Not that my parents were poor. I mean, I didn't grow up poor, but we didn't grow up with a lot of money either. It was like you take a couple of vacations a year or whatever, and you go to the same kind of regular places. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to travel. I wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to get up on Monday morning and go to the movies with all the blue-haired ladies. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to go hang out and just every day. I wanted to live my life like I was on vacation every day. So I said, okay, what do I got to do? I got to go build a business, stay focused for a period of time, maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 years, And then I'm going to wake up after 10 years. This is what I believed. Like, from the universe, man, I dreamt about it. I wrote it down. I had vision boards. I just wanted to be free.
Wow. But I can see since very early in your life, you were very confident. So what happens with people out there that they are not as confident and as rebellious and as decided as you are? So what they do?
So I believe that the reason why those people are not confident is because they haven't mastered their craft yet.
Oh, wow.
So for me, competence breeds confidence. So when you're competent, right, you know your shit, man. Like I was 21, I was talking to 50-year-old people, families, teaching them about how to get financially independent. And you know, most people, they would laugh at that, or a young person would get afraid to do that because like, what does that little kid know? He's driving around in a $4,000 Nissan pickup. You know, what does he know about financial independence or whatever? But see, that what a lot of people didn't understand is that morning, noon, and night, I was studying. I was watching videos. I was studying scripts. I was going to seminars. I was, just immersing myself into my craft. I mean, there wasn't a book on personal finance that I didn't read.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't an article that I didn't read. There wasn't, a video that I didn't see that would spell out how my product worked. And then I also, another thing that I did early on is I would call up the competition. So I would call up other companies and I would say, hi, my name is Daniel. I want to buy your product. And then I found out how the competition was selling their products. So I knew how to overcome those objections that I was going to get maybe from a client that had a product with that competing company. So when I would go into a house, man, I had it down. I mean, there was times as a young man, there was times where I sat down and I would set up a video camera or whatever big old VHS tape thing back then, and I would have the other agent come because the other agent would come and they would tell my client, oh, he's lying and he's saying all this stuff, and I would tell my client, okay, get the other agent to come to your house. I'm going to set up a camera and we're going to have a conversation right on camera and we're going to see who's lying. And you can decide, Mr. and Mrs. Client, who's lying here. Wow. and who's telling the truth. And so I sat there, man, and I came prepared, just like I knew exactly what I was going to do, how I was going to do it. And I killed these guys. I mean, they had no chance with me. They were stuttering. These are old people. Like I was in my early 20s and these are like people in their 40s, 50s. And they just didn't know how to answer these questions that I was asking them. I always won. They were called agent confrontations that we used to have. And I never lost. Not one time did I ever lose. And a lot of times, and by the way, a lot of times they wouldn't even show up because I would say, hey, look, I'm going to be here and I'm going to bring a camera. I'm going to bring a videotape. Mm-hmm. So if you're okay with that, then come. If you're not, then don't come. And a lot of these times they wouldn't come because they knew that if they came, they were going to have to,
So do you think there is an age, like age is an obstacle for getting rich? Like if you are too young or if you are too old now, so what do you think about that?
No, I mean, age means nothing. It's just a number. I mean, it's your competence. Mm-hmm. It's the way you feel about what you're doing. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way that you treat people, right? Because think about it. Sales is the best place to make $1 million. Okay, the business of being in business is the best way to get rich because you can scale it. Okay, if you have a company and you want to grow, then what do? You just expand locations. You just recruit more people. You just keep building. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 80 and you could still meet people. The challenge though that I see in today's world, because especially me now that I'm a little bit more mature now, so I'm a little older, right? So that I see people in my age range, the reason why it's more difficult for them is because they're not willing to do the shit that they're supposed to do, like that they need to do, right? This is the challenge, okay? Like they're not willing to get up earlier and to stay up later and they're not willing to subject themselves to criticism, because by the time you get to your 40s, right, you have created this image of life and created who you are. And so if I say, hey, look, you need to stay out late. You need to hang out with us. You need to go recruit young people. You need to stay relevant. You need to dress a little bit younger. You need to talk a little bit younger. You need to your vibe needs to be a little bit more younger feeling and kind of keep that stay in that zone. And a lot of people just aren't willing to do it. And that's why they'll never make it. Because at 21, I was willing to do anything and everything. So I always told the people that I was working with and my mentors, like, look, I don't care how, what I got to do. As long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'll do it. I don't care. I'll pick up trash. I'll be a garbage collector. I don't care what it, like, I wanted to get rich and I wanted to get free. So I didn't care how I had to do it. As long as it was legal, ethical, and moral, I knew that I was willing to do whatever it took. That's it.
Wow. So, and then things are going wonderful, right? 26, 27, 28. I want to get to the place.
Yeah,
you had a place where everything breaks down. There was a down court for you in your life?
Well, in my life, in my personal life, yeah. I mean, I recently divorced. I mean, so yeah. I mean, I've had definitely some challenges on the home front. As far as business, though, I mean, business has continued to do well. I mean, I've really never had downturns because insurance and investments are not economy-driven businesses. So people buy insurance whether interest rates are high or low. They just keep buying insurance. And same thing with investments. Even if the investment market goes down, they keep buying investments because they want to buy at a lower cost per share. So this is why the business has always done well. Recruiting, we recruit hundreds and hundreds of people every month. So that is a continuous cycle for us, which is wonderful. But yeah, of course, I mean, my life ain't perfect at all. I mean, and again, money will never make your life perfect. It gives you options, though. It gives you freedoms, and it gives you the ability to write a check to make things a little bit better. But of course, it's not money's gonna make your life perfect. It doesn't work that way.
So, but then what lessons would you have learned through the years about business? If it's probably not that the business went down or something like that, but I think as we grow in entrepreneurs, we are learning lessons. I don't know, partnerships. So what was the biggest lesson that you learned about business?
Well, I think for me, I mean, I'm always continually learning all the time. But I think one of the biggest lessons that I learned is, leadership is everything.
Oh, wow.
And without a leader leading the charge, the team can't sustain. Because there's always going to be followers and there's always going to be leaders. The leader, in my opinion, always makes the most money. So I said early on, I was like, I'm going to be the fucking leader. Like, what do I got to do to be the leader? That's what I want to become. And so I studied leadership. I studied John Maxwell and I studied Anthony Robbins and I went through all the courses and I did all the studying. And now I'm not a perfect leader. I mean, of course, I look back, some of the mistakes that I made was, I think, and this is probably a little bit more later on after I became financially independent. I think it was the people that didn't treat me well in the beginning, because I'm trying to build a team and conserve a team. In the beginning, I was like, I'd let everything go. I was like, I don't care what they said. I let everything go. When I got older and I was like, pretty, set financially, when people were mean to me, I kind of like took more offense to it. And so the lesson is I wish I would have let it go. Like, letting it go is the biggest, that is like a revelation in my life. Look, I mean, I'd probably still be married right now had I let more things go. No, I'm dead serious. Like letting things go is one of the greatest lessons I think that I have discovered in the last several years. It's powerful. Because I lost relationships, in business, right? I mean, I lost relationships. I had, I was always a tough leader anyways. I would always be direct, and I would tell people what they needed to hear versus what they wanted to hear, which sounds good in theory. And I think when you're that leader that's charging and killing it and selling and building, and you could talk a little tougher to your guys when you're in that mode, because it didn't really matter. I would just go recruit more people if they didn't like what I was saying. I just kept moving. But now I think, or in the later years of my business, I think that there were some relationships that I wish I could take back the words that I used. I was too harsh. I was too mean in those situations, thinking in my mind, I'm going to challenge them. They're going to get pissed at me. Seriously, this was part of my strategy. Is I thought there was a guy in particular, big, one of my favorite people on planet Earth. I mean, he was like one of my favorite humans, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk really tough to him. I'm gonna tell him exactly what I think he needs to do, because he wasn't having the success that I thought he could have been having, and so I let it rip, man. I mean, I let him have it, and I'm thinking in my mind, okay, he's gonna get pissed at me. I get it, but then he's gonna turn that, like, being pissed into fuel to make him go and go get big, and like do it. Because, by the way, that's what happened to me. So my upline, okay, he was an asshole. This guy was a total jerk, and really, like, even threatened me one time. I mean, like, really, he was not a nice guy, but I used it as fuel to go like, without him, I'd be less successful today without that asshole guy. So I thought that it was going to work on that guy, but it didn't. It completely did not work on him, and I lost the relationship. I mean, he's still in my business. He still, does well, and he's, but I believe that his success was limited because we lost our connection in our relationship. Because at the end of the day, he did need a leader. He needed me, and I wish I was a better leader to him. And I think that we could have even done bigger things together.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
I'm just gonna let you have it. I'm just gonna tell you everything you want to know, and I'm laying it on the line today. So
then we're gonna talk more about how money took a place in divorce.
Okay.
Because I think sometimes we talked one time about conscience and coupling.
Conscious uncoupling, yeah.
Correct. And so I would like that, how that apply in the way you separate from your wife.
So we decided, and it was probably more me, because I am a financial guy, so I think in terms of financial things. And I said to myself, well, if we are going to separate, then why don't we just do it in a way that is consciously treating each other with respect, creating an environment that our kids can be okay in, not, beating each other up, not yelling at each other every day, not causing all this rift, right? And I said, why don't we just decide to keep our assets together? Why don't we keep, a lot of the business, accounts, let's keep them active. And then what I can do is we'll just figure out a game plan where every month we take half of the business, because she helped me build my business. I mean, she's half of my business. I mean, I couldn't have done it without her. I mean, she is incredibly valuable looking back to my life. I'll never take that away from her. She did her part in helping us build what we were able to build. And so I never fought her on that. Like, it was always, it's down the line. It's 50-50 here. Like, you did 50% of the work to get us here. So we are going to cut this thing in half, and I am always going to respect you for that. Like, despite our differences on other things, like that, I'm giving you that. And by the way, a lot of people are stupid when they go fight it in court for 5 years, because they give all their money to their lawyers, And then what they do is they find out in the court, what does the court say? Court says, you got to split it 50-50. So I was like, why don't we just split it 50-50 from the beginning and save the $300,000, $400,000 in legal fees, and let's just, do it the right way. And by the way, I've never talked about this before. This is the first time I've ever talked about this on and I'm on a lot of podcasts, and this is the first time ever. But
sorry to cut you.
That's
it's
okay.
so beautiful because I think there's so many people going through divorce, right? And I think it's very important to hear someone that I loved it when you shared that with me before. Like, I think everybody should really hear that message because we don't get built by ourselves. There is always people around us, and more if we have a life partner for many, many years. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who is the one in the front, but they both are working in something, and I really honor you for that and for sharing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to me, and hopefully, kind of as my journey goes, hopefully I can teach and because it's a powerful way to create a relationship. It's still not 100% easy between us because there's still that feeling, but the truth is, I let things go. I'm able to have good conversations. I'm able to be direct with her, and we're trying to work on that, so that we can really be good friends, great friends, hopefully one day, because for the sake of our kids. I mean, our kids are always going to be in our life together. So if we keep us right, it's going to be such a better life, such an easier life versus, well, you can't go to this place because the other person is going to go there, and you can't go there because, the kids don't want you there because you guys are going to be fighting or looking at it and giving each other hard looks and all. It's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Another revelation I had is the fact that, look, let's be honest. A lot of people watching right now, they are, 50% of them came from divorced homes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you did. You did, Brian. I did. You know what I mean?
And in my case, so if my dad is going to be there, then it's like we all have to prepare. So how my mom is going to act, and they divorced more than 30 years ago, and I love them both, but it's not.
But it doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's such an old paradigm. Mm-hmm. It's just an old way of thinking. It's outdated. Two people, we were together for 30 years.
Wow.
Obviously, we loved each other. Obviously, we cared deeply. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually, when I left, I built her budget. I made her a budget because I wanted to make sure that she knew that her money was always going to be okay. She didn't have to go get a job. She didn't have to go stress and where am I going to get money and I'm not going to be okay and I got to go whatever. I made sure that she knew that she would be forever taken care of. I mean, literally, she will be forever taken care of based on the systems and investments and things that I put together through the years. And so that, to me, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that I didn't. Now, I'm not, leaving and how everything happened. That's another story. And it was not easy. But in the end, you find out a lot about people in conflict.
Yeah.
When there's conflict, you find out their true nature. That you find out their true character, right?
And when you leave them, right?
When you leave them,
you don't know people when you meet them. Normally,
right.
People is nice and they are showing their best.
That's it.
But then when you are gonna leave, there is when it really shows who you are.
That's it.
How was all of that, or how do you teach your kids money? If we come back a little about money.
So I think one of the most important things is to teach your kids how to budget and how. I mean, not that a budget, because people hear budget.
Yeah, I don't like the
word
budget.
It's a scary word, right? And it's a scary word because we don't like to plan those kind of things.
But budget without getting to scarcity, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, no. I understand the scarcity thing. The problem is financial organization is what kills everybody. So, because I don't know how people do it. I was talking with somebody a while back, and she's still using the check register. You know what I mean? Like, she has no financial software. She has no, like, she's literally like writing this little check register all over. I'm like, how do you do it? And then they come with their all their receipts at the end of the year, and they give it to their accountant, and they're like, okay, tell me what my taxes are. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you. And it's normal, by the way. It's normal. Probably 90% of everybody does it. They do it like that. But the difference between the wealthy and average and ordinary is financial organization. Now, I've always had a budget. Now, do I sit down and go, okay, I can't spend dollar over the budget? I've never been that way, because I'll just go make more money. So I have no problem just going and making more money. But I gotta know where I'm at so I don't make dumb choices about money. Like, for example, if I know that I have abundance left over that month, I don't care how much we law of attraction it, okay? If the money isn't in the account, we can't wish it into the account in one day. It just doesn't work that way. Well, maybe you'll change our mind on that, I'm sure. But I just know from a practical standpoint, if the money's not there, and then you just go and spend it, that's where people get in credit card debt. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, credit card debt is the worst, situation for most people. They're dying in debt right now. So again, I get what you're saying, and I'm 100% with you, right? My whole life is because of law of attraction and the universe and creation and my mindset and all that. I get all that. But I also, from a practical standpoint, I got to make sure that I know where my money's going. I know how much I have. And it also allows me to make really good choices about where my next investments are going to be, right? So if I continue to put money aside every month, I make sure no matter what, I'm always setting aside chunks of money into my savings. So step number one is I put my money in my savings. The excess I put in the savings. And then as I build up that savings, I take those chunks and then I invested it either into real estate, or I invested it in another stock, or I put it in buy another stock so I can trade options on that stock, which is basically taking rent from the stock. And so, or whatever it is. I mean, I'm always thinking, how am I going to compound the money to create more streams of income?
So the key is compounding the money.
That's it. It's compound interest, of course.
Do you need a coach for that?
Well, I mean, I think that I'm a pretty good coach. I've helped a lot of people have way more money than they had before they met me, of course.
No, I love, because I haven't met anybody in my life that loves to teach more than you do. Wherever you go, I see that you use your voice and you use your knowledge and you are spreading it. Like, that's beautiful to watch. But anyway, so 2024 is here. So January 1st, what do we do? What is the blueprint for the year?
Okay, so I could be here for 3 more hours, but the first thing is we got to know what we want. Okay, so it's first is like, what's the why?
You want money.
Exactly. If we want money, then we got to say we want money.
Yes.
Think about this for a second, and you understand this really well. A lot of people go around saying, I don't have enough money.
Oh, yeah.
I can't have, I can't do it. It's not possible for me. You don't know my situation, right?
The beliefs.
Their beliefs.
Like, I think it's harder to talk about money many times than to talk about religion, right? Because people come right to you, like, money doesn't go in trees.
Yeah.
Right? It's very bold. How do you go through that with people when you are helping them?
Well, I mean, it's to show them that the money is there. In most cases, it's just they're spending it incorrectly, or they're just not making enough of it. So I might say, if they're making a lot of money and they're still broke, then it's because they're not organizing their money correctly. If they don't have any money right now, then we got to say, all right, let's go make more money. There's an opportunity for you. There's a business that you can get involved with. Whatever it is, there's always a way to make more money if you're open to it. See, most people's hearts, they're closed off. They're sad inside. Why? Because they're living a life of quiet desperation, and lack of abundance mentality. So they just don't ever believe that something great can happen to them. And I believe differently.
That's so beautiful because you are connecting money with heart.
Well, I mean, there's of course there's a connection. Wow. Well, because your heart is creating. I mean, your heart is like a brain, basically. Yes. I mean, so it's creating the things that we want. So if I, like, a lot of people don't realize that even watching a movie, right? You watch a good movie and you sit there and you cry. Or you sit there and you get inspired. And I at least for me, I used to always relate movies back to my business. You know, you'd see an inspirational movie and I'd be like, okay, I need to go get more focused. It didn't matter what the movie was, but if I was inspired, I'm like, I'm going to go do more now. I'm going to get more motivated or whatever and go sell more and go build more and recruit. And I think that it was my heart that was speaking to me.
Wow.
When I'm watching that movie. The movie was touching my heart, and my heart was saying, okay, you got to be better. You can do better. You got to be more motivated. You can be more than you're right now. I mean, look, a part of the reason why I went into business and I got so focused was because I remember one time and this was before I even got in business, I was at a buddy's house, and we, you know, all day long, we did absolutely nothing, okay? We smoked pot, okay, that's what we did, and we got high, and we, like, I think there was like clay, and we were making clay things, and we were, you know, like just stupid shit all day long, like doing nothing, wasting our lives away. And I remember going to sleep that night, or before I went to sleep that night, I'm like, you're such a loser, man. I mean, you're such a freaking loser. I was telling myself that. I'm going, you are wasting your life. The universe was telling me, Daniel, you're supposed to do something great with your life. Why are you wasting your life away? What's wrong with you? And that was, and I'll never forget. This is like one day, like this is one moment that I'll never forget in my mind. And I felt so low. That was the lowest I ever felt in my life. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing this? And it was like, and then what happened, right? My buddy calls me. This is the universe. Yes. My buddy calls me a week later, 2 weeks later, he calls me and he goes, all right, dude, I got an opportunity for you to change your life. And I still resisted it. And for like 4 months. 4 months I kept telling my buddy, I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you there. And I told him I was going to meet him at this meeting place. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry. I totally flaked on him. That's why my life has always been completely different because, you know, especially growing up around flaky people in my family, some of these, you know, some people in my family, they were flaky people. I remember as a little kid waiting on the corner for my father to pick me up and he wouldn't come, you know, and I never wanted to be that kind of flake. I never wanted to be that person that told you I was going to do something and not do it. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do everything in my power. Not perfect, but everything in my power to make sure I'm always coming through. Big lesson, by the way. 2024, if you're a flake, you need to stop it. Like now. You need to cut that shit out, man, because nobody respects a flake and nobody respects, you'll never be a leader if you are a flaky person. And it's eye-opening.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, I love it. So 2024, first thing that we do, we check our beliefs, right?
That's it.
What do we do next?
So I think we need to find a way to make more passive income. Okay. In my opinion, one of the best ways to make a lot of passive income really quickly is get involved with some sort of business, become an entrepreneur, multi-level marketing. I believe in, because I believe it's the best way to enter at a low barrier cost, right? It doesn't cost a lot of money to join some sort of multi-level business. So I think it's the best way to really, you know, get your your toe wet and kind of figure out if whatever that business is right for you. So you try, right? You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. You try, you give it a shot. You say, why not me? And you know what? What you're going to find is the beauty of multi-level marketing is the fact that when you're in a business like that, you can expand and it doesn't cost you a lot of money. Like, so think about this. If I own a McDonald's, cost me $1 million to open up a McDonald's. By me opening up that McDonald's, I'm going to make about $80,000 of net income for opening up that McDonald's. And I got to go to McDonald's University and I got to do all this kind of stuff. But that's about net,
80?
about 80 grand. That's all you're going to make on a McDonald's, about 80 grand a year net profit on that business. Okay. Now, what do most people in McDonald's that have McDonald's franchises, what do most of them do? They open up more McDonald's franchises. So they open up another one and another one and another one and another one. And so you see people that own all these franchises, they're rich. They get super, super rich doing this. But guess what? Nobody talks about the fact that if I put up $1 million and I only make 100 grand, just call it, it's going to take me 10 years to get my money back. Versus in multi-level marketing, I paid, I don't know, $1,000 to get licensed and all that kind of stuff with the state. And then I made money day one. I wrote a sale and I made money. So I made $1,000 on the one sale. So I'm like, okay, I'm profitable one day after getting my license.
Wow.
So to me, it's a no-brainer. And then think about this, right? I have 55 locations and 1,500 licensed agents. So if I have all these agents, they're all expanding locations and I don't have to pay for those locations. So I have 1,500 agents. I have one employee. 1,500 agents. I have one employee. So my overhead is like nothing. I mean, I have a building that I own, but I lease it out and I make rent from the building. So again, even my facility to operate my business costs me nothing.
Wow.
So from a practical business standpoint, this type of marketing business, these type of marketing businesses, you'll always make more profit if you work the business. You got to work it. That's the unfortunate. Now, if you have $1 million, you could just go buy a McDonald's franchise and boom, it's running. You know what I mean? Because you got the $1 million.
Yeah.
Most people don't have the $1 million. So if you don't have the $1 million, then what do? I was making $7 an hour. I didn't have $1 million. So I had to go entry level somewhere, work my way up, build myself into something. You got to be willing to do it. So the next thing is I'd make sure I started a business and I started creating. And by the way, I just want to make mention of this because when I say passive income, people look at me and somebody said the other day on my YouTube, I get haters all the time on my YouTube, but they're like, yeah, there's no such thing as passive income. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? I mean, if I have 1,500 agents and I don't do anything for them and they make money all the time, and by them making money, I make money, that's passive income. That's what passive means. So now, granted, I do have to continue keeping my license active. I got to go through continuing education. So there are some things that I do have to do in my business. But I mean, my business is residual and it's passive income. Most of my income is completely without me ever being there. And it's probably 99% of my income without me having to actually be present. So this is important for people to realize because think about if you real estate. Say I go buy a property. I go buy a big house for $1 million and then I rent it out to somebody and they're paying me $5 grand a month or whatever. Well, that's great. And now that's passive income that's coming in, right? That's cash flow that's coming in, which is wonderful. Nothing wrong with that. But I still had to come up with the down payment for the house. I still have to operate the house. I still have to pay a management company to operate the house. So maybe at the end I come out with $2,000 or $3,000 in passive income. But check this out. because I have a marketing, multi-level marketing business, think about it for a second. If I want to create another $1,000 a month in passive income, what do I got to do? I just got to go recruit somebody new. I got to get them licensed and teach them how to sell. That's another stream of income.
Wow.
So, and it's endless. I could have 10,000 agents if I want. That is powerful, you know, to really creating $1 million in 2024.
Wow. So beliefs, get in a business, think about multi-level marketing as an option, and then what do we do next?
Well, as we make money, we then need to become very financially organized. Because I think ultimately, yes, we want to make $1 million in cash flow, but we also want to create some sort of foundation for our life. And what I mean by that is the $1 million for me. So at 28, when I had that $1 million, I was free. And people say, well, $1 million, that's not enough to retire on. I said, well, think about it for a second. Well, I was making $500,000 in my business at that time as well per year. But the $1 million was my foundation. That allowed me, and everybody, by the way, needs $1 million, like solid $1 million. And the reason why is because if all goes to shit, right? If everything goes away, I still got the $1 million. If the business goes out of business, something happens, you know, somebody says our company's bad or something like that, and we go out of business, which happens sometimes. It's not like unheard of. Well, if it ever happens, I still have the $1 million. And I take the $1 million, I invest it at a 10% rate of return somewhere. That's $100,000 a year without getting out of bed, especially at that time. Now, I can't survive on that today, but back then, that was my foundation because I was free. Because now I had something to fall back on. If something happened, that gave me the sense of peace. It gave me the sense of security. But how do you do that? How do you get to that? You got to start making money. So you start a business and then you make money and then you get financially organized. You monitor where the money's going and you save 30, 40, 50% of your income. That's what you got to do.
50% of your income?
Well, that was me back then. Now, granted, if you got kids, if you got higher expenses, things like that, obviously. But again, me and my ex-wife, we were spending $120 a month on food back then. Okay, so imagine that, right? We would go to the grocery store. We'd buy $120. That was it, and we would eat all of the food until we would go back again. We lived below our means. Now, some people could say, well, that's not abundance mentality, blah, blah, blah. No. What it was a focus, okay? We were focused on getting freedom.
Focus
now,
and on a diet. No, just kidding.
I say it again? No. Say it
Focus and on a diet. No, just kidding.
No.
No, I love it. But 50% sounds like a lot to me.
Well, it is if you have already... You have a nice home, you have a lot of nice things, you have expenses probably way higher than what I had at 21 years old. So again, different scenario, different situation. But if that person's 21 and they're young and they don't have a lot of expenses, man, you better be saving most everything that comes in.
But how at 21 year old start recruiting? Because like you said, many people is gonna say, or they don't have many times like the friends that are really gonna buy from them.
Well, I think that maybe going back to a little bit what I said before is that if you have confidence, you're going to be confident. And people buy confidence. I mean, think about Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was 18 years old. They gave him a $100 million contract. So let's be honest. Nobody cares about how old you are.
Wow.
They just care about what you know. They care about what you know. They care about, are you good at what you do? So I would say to anybody that wants to be better at their business, man, you better be consuming like crazy your company's materials, videos. Start hanging around the most successful people in your business. Look, I knocked on the door of one of the most successful, probably the top 5 most successful people ever in the history of my company. I knocked on his door and said, look, you're going to mentor me.
Oh, wow.
And I called this guy every single day for 5 years. That's how accountable. People got to get accountable. Accountability to me is the number one thing to becoming successful. Accountable. You got to be accountable to somebody. And that changed my life. I woke up 5 years later and I was financially free.
So talking about partners, how important is the decision of the person like you partner for life in how much are you gonna grow financially?
Well, in all of my intentions, right? I have a dream video that I watch before I go to bed.
Yeah,
And I have
do
all
too.
I have all my intentions. I have all the places I want to still travel and all that kind of stuff. And I have in there, and it says something about like the quality of your life is going to have a lot to do with the quality of your partner, right? Your partner could make or break you, really, in the end. And so it was, I mean, I feel very blessed. I feel very lucky that I had a great partner growing up in the business and we were able to build something together. And I feel very blessed of that. I mean, we were the head of the partnership organization and we talked a lot about partnership. You know, I mean, again, but in the end, things work out sometimes. They don't work out sometimes, but we had a powerful partnership. And she helped a lot. So it's big. It's huge decision that you make. The person that you bring in your life should be that ride or die person. Like, man, you got each other's back. You're going big together. You want to do something great together. This is powerful.
That's beautiful. So, what is the biggest obstacle that you see that people has to build wealth?
I think mindset. You know,
It's
I
like
think
a survival mindset, do you mean?
I do. I think that it's a lack of abundance mentality. It's always talking about what you can't do versus saying I can do it. I can do anything I want, anything I put my mind to, anything I believe with passion and courage and intensity and determination is ultimately going to become your reality. We know that. So that's where people go wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Daniel has a wonderful book called Wealth at the Beach. Is powerful laws of success that you share with us, and I'm gonna invite you next time to dig on those because I think each of those is wonderful and we can spend another hour talking about that. But yeah, and then thank you.
Well, I just want to throw in that I'm actually working on my second book.
Oh my gosh!
And it's called Building a Badass Mindset Like the Wealthy. So I take the principle, the law of mindset, which is in my first book, and I took that law of mindset and I built an entire new book just on mindset. So I take a look at stories like Tiger Woods, or stories like Tom Brady, or stories like Serena Williams, and stories like Steve Jobs, and all these different people in you know that we know, and then I talk about their story and how their story relates to different areas of mindset. So like gratitude is an area of mindset. Clarity is an area of mindset. Some people are more clear. Some people are more focused. Focus is another law of mindset. So I basically did another 11 laws just of mindset. And we talk about abundance mentality. We talk about gratitude. We talk about networking. We talk about how to really create that mindset that we are professional friend makers. That's what we all should be. We got to be careful who we're making friends with. I mean, look, I'm just telling you, I mean, you're a perfect example of a wonderful friend maker. You're hospitable, you're friendly, you smile, you have a great energy, you have a great vibe. That's what makes you attractive. So there's a lot of people that they might be attractive on the outside, but they're not attractive on the inside. And so you have an attractiveness on the outside, but you're also attractive on the inside. You exude a feeling of like of happiness and gratitude and good energy and good vibe, and that's why you're successful in your life.
Thank you. Thank you. Oof, I'm excited, I am grateful, and I'm inspired, and I'm ready to make more money in 2024. Thank you, and I hope you really join me next time. Thank you so much.
I can't wait.
Thank you.